Good afternoon, evening. Hope everyone's had a great day. Got a few cards here. Some of Upon Limitless. And clean the ones up around the edges since we want to close out a cycle. Let's see what was on the outskirts, right? See what Spirit has to say. Ooh, and then right off the gate, I didn't even look at these yet, so I like to be just a surprise too. It makes it damn much more fun when doing everything. So right off the gate, we have someone's looking forward to the future. We should all always be looking forward to the future, right? You're a free thinker. Spirit says don't worry about them. Let them do what they're doing. They're getting caught up in their own drama now. And that knock, you've got some incoming. They're all now being forced to look in the mirror. A female security officer that was, I guess they were trying to plead insanity, Spirit saying, and Spirit saying, they ain't insane. They knew what they was doing. They did it on purpose. Nice try. Or maybe they were saying, you're insane. Turns out you're insane. Take it how it resonates. Same energy. Different stories. Different timelines. So you could have something similar going on in your life, right? But that doesn't mean that because it's something similar that exact same pattern lines up with yours specifically. It might look like completely one. It has to be this. When it's really been right there the whole time, kind of thing. You're about to receive an invitation. Spirit says they just, I guess they were letting shit get to their head. They thought they were larger than life. You're here to help creations flow, continue to naturally flow. Spirit saying out with the old and in with the new. See, I already love this reading today and where it's going. Yes. All right. Spirit says this they were running romance scams on you. They were, it went far because this is my coast to coast card. This in the reverse, which means the fact that coast to coast came up in first place means that it was that big, but that it's reversed means that it being that big is what bit them in the ass, kind of thing. You know what I mean? Also with like signs and professions, all right, if they come up and they're in the upright, that person's energy is in their north node. If they are flipped, like right off the gate, I have Scorpio right here that's in the reverse. That means they know. That's more than likely whoever was doing it, working against, when they're up like this, that's north node. This is probably you. When it's like this is probably them. Happy translate. Spirit says your light is very needed. Congratulations, taking that spiritual bath you finally needed. Something about the Middle East. We all know the shit going on over there. Just turn for all that in anyway, huh? They're carefully crafting illusions. Spirit says they did it the absolute hardest way possible because is there any other way? And Spirit says a pure heart will always win. So don't worry. You're cycle breaking. A pure heart will always win cycle breaking. Ooh, these cards, yes. They're scared to talk to you. Spirit says they were basically wrong place, right time kind of thing. They've been gathering materials. They were gonna come back for round 2, but something's saying that all that's being stopped. Whatever they were planning stopped. It's like back for round 2 came up, but it was in reverse, which means they were planning it. But Spirit said, ha ha ha, you know what I mean. Then right after that, we have now having doubts, so back around too in reverse, and now having doubts. So if you're the one making plans to do something to somebody, let that be your confirmation. Don't do it, because Spirit says it's already been clocked, kind of thing. They were speaking your love language, I guess. Maybe they were trying to seduce you. The Spirit says now they're all easily cracking under the pressure. I guess that pressure forged you like the diamond you are, and then the same pressure just crumpled in. They didn't realize you were going to trust your intuition. I guess they didn't count on you finally starting to listen to yourself for a change. And that nagging on the inside kind of thing. They didn't want you, they were trying to stop you from being able to expand your spiritual gifts. I don't know why people care about that. Unless you were using spirituality for negative, mischief stuff, then you should want people to embrace their spirituality, because we're here to heal, you know. We want to go. We want all of humanity to elevate. Just because you don't like us don't mean that we don't want you to elevate too. It's who we are. It's how we're programmed. It's what we're here for. They forced your signature, Spirit said. There's some hush money that's in the reverse. You know, them digital footprints, anything, even cash, and it's traceable, you guys. Don't do messed up stuff to people. Especially if you're just trying to save your ass, just period. Not an especially if, how about just period? You know what I mean? Spirit's saying they have no one to blame but themselves, and that we will always reap as we sow. So if you're afraid the consequences of your actions, and the consequences of your actions might look negative, then why don't you have a moral and integritous life, and then the consequences of your actions are actually good things instead of negative things. Flip that script, turn you on the table. You know what I mean? They wanted you trauma bonded, and Spirit says you ain't trauma bonded. That you're shining a light on the situation, or somebody's shining a light on the situation finally. They put faith in the wrong people or things, and Spirit says always beware the false prophet. Use discernment when interacting with anyone, no matter who. Always use your discernment anyways, because people are people. We're all people. Everybody's people. Just do it anyways. You know, ask questions. Use the Socratic method. You know what I mean. They didn't want you to be able to accomplish anything. So no matter what you did, they want you always to be working, and trying to figure shit out, but never being able to figure out why anything. Spirit's saying that they just became consumed within themselves. Like, I guess they're learning some lessons. You definitely learned yours, Spirit said. A sister told everyone that you were dead. They tried to make a clown out of you, and Spirit saying, nah. They were gold digging, and that they did too much. They didn't understand the importance of looking within themselves and checking themselves instead of always checking everybody else first. And they were still trying to hide, but I guess they are not as hidden as they thought they were. They told everyone that you were a liability, something about some pawn shops, and sleeping with the enemy. They're running out of ideas now. They were taking their sweet time, and now Spirit said they out of time, and they're kicked out. They wanted you in a state of psychosis, and now they're the ones in a state of psychosis, and they wanted people to shortchange you everywhere you went, and they said, in Spirit saying, that's done with. Now it's time for you to get yours. You put into work. Here you go. You're keeping a positive mindset. Congratulations. You do it right. When things get heavy, you know, we can have our moment. We stamp our foot a little bit. Let's stamp our foot, especially if we do it in the privacy of our own home kind of thing. But then we learn and we move on. We felt that emotion. We processed it. We learned from it. We don't want to feel that emotion again, so why we gonna keep jumping? You jumped in that fire and it burnt you, so woo, that burn was so good. Let me just jump right back in, right? They don't feel bad, Spirit saying. they have some hella insecurities. They tried clipping your wings. Something about a corrupt feminine and your DNA, a cosmic masculine who's finding their balance. Congratulations. They will make arrangements. There it is again, but it's in the reverse. So, that. Here I'm going. Spirit said red flag warning. Making arrangements in the reverse, and then right after that, red flag warning. And trash. But it's in the reverse. Spirit says justice is coming. Hang tight. Keep staying focused. So we got justice is coming. Keep staying focused. Higher levels, higher devils. I was gonna say, even though you got them high levels, higher devils, that's okay, because you got a guardian angel too. Beautiful. They didn't want you to gain courage ever, but Spirit's saying you have become one hella courageous person. You're doing amazing. They weren't being genuine, and they were going around telling people that you weren't authentic neither, but Spirit's saying you are very authentic. Keep flowing. And a guardian. That was actually a nice little refreshing change. Let's close these cycles on out, y'all. Ready for the next timeline, huh? So all kind of fun, exciting stuff. All this heavy, it's time for this heavy to lift. And if you still gonna have heavy after these timelines close out, then at that point it's your free will, and we choose to carry it, you know. Some people, in my experience, some people really do like living in victim mentality, where I always hated being the victim, and if anybody ever tried to paint me as one, I was ready to come out kicking and screaming. So I never understood when people would stand somewhere and be like, hey dear. So if you see me complaining about something, trust me, understand that I have already gone to every lengths on the universe the other ways before I finally was like, you know what, here's this way too. You know what I mean? Let's all start working together. Let's make this place better. Let's leave it better for our kids than the way we found it. Because if you're miserable or you're unhappy and all this is going on, why on earth would you want to leave it that way or continue that narrative, knowing we have little minds and eyes getting ready to come into this next generation? Let's make this shit magical for them. How about that? Like you would have wished or hoped it was for you, because most of the time if we doing this is because we didn't hear it. You get where I'm going. So be the change, be the difference, break those cycles, stand there and do the shit everybody else has been afraid to do. Peace, press, which you might find. Have a great rest of your evening.